Hey, welcome to the channel. This is Talk with Tech, and let's hit it. So, this is related to the current TikTok ban. This is a ban that is occurring, or a ban people are trying to get through. Mostly Republicans, some Democrats. So everything they mention about it, they say it has, bipartisan support. In this case, though, I don't feel like this is really a TikTok ban. They're not trying to get rid of TikTok itself, but they're more trying to take care of the guy who's losing, and that guy is Mark Zuckerberg. As some people know, Mark Zuckerberg attempted to buy TikTok back in 2016. It failed. TikTok has now become far larger than Facebook currently is. It may even become larger than Facebook ever has been. This is causing a bit of an uproar at Facebook, and there's a lot going on in the back that has been making Facebook, specifically Mark Zuckerberg, attempt to kill TikTok. A lot of Facebook lobbyists are kind of pushing for this, but let's go over the basics of the ban and check this out. So this is an article from CNBC News. As Congress eyes TikTok ban, what could happen to the social media platform?
Its parent company, ByteDance, is under investigation by the Department of Justice for alleged spying, and the Biden administration has threatened to ban TikTok unless it divests, while Congress pledges more action.
The chair of the House Energy and Commerce Committee says she plans to move quickly on legislation involving TikTok. In response to the CEO's testimony this morning, Chinese leaders announced that China has never, nor would it ever, ask any company to provide data or intelligence in foreign countries.
All right, that's the basics of it. They're trying to use national security as the reason to ban this. They're saying that our data is being sent to China. If you actually watched the grilling that the CEO of TikTok had received, if you watched any part of it, you would see this wasn't really about questioning the guy as much as it was about making your 15 minutes of fame, making your politics. Both sides that did not want it to succeed or did not want TikTok to be, basically took a whole lot of time to talk to the guy, to talk down to the guy, and then gave him no chance in a lot of cases to even rebuttal, which was outright confusing. The point of these is that the members of the Congression are supposed to question the individual. That I was under the impression that was the point of a hearing. When you're put on trial or you're a witness, the attorney would ask you a question and you would provide an answer. If an attorney goes on too long talking about something, a judge will basically go, hey, let's get to the point. Where's the question in all this? Or the counter attorney, whether it be the prosecution or the defense, will basically say, hey, where is the question in this? What is the point to this? In the case of anything congressional, any kind of congressional hearing, this never happens. They can grandstand for their full whatever time they're allotted. So in the case of TikTok, the guy was basically hit with a whole ton of stuff, and then he was given no or little time to actually respond to what was said. Some of the interesting facts were he pointed out in one case, the actual Facebook occurrence that happened a few years ago with Cambridge, and the acknowledgement that Cambridge was like, hey, Facebook is releasing all of people's data. Facebook is selling everyone's data, and it is not secure at all. He brought things like that up. Overall, you get the impression, if you actually watch it and you actually listen to his responses and listen to what they say and the few questions they actually gave him, a lot of it was more political points than actually anything else. You get the impression, like with most things, that they've already made the decision here. They're not going to care. They're just going to push something through. And there's not a whole lot countering it, which is kind of a problem. Now, why is this actually important in general? The importance here in general is if it is TikTok today, that means they can start targeting social media platforms that have any kind of connection to a foreign government. And FYI, pretty much all of them do. from Facebook all the way down to the guy you've never heard of before, there is some foreign involvement at low levels. Now, it's not to say there's conspiracies or any of these things going on, but the global economic state right now is very global. You don't have a lot of countries that just completely operate 100% within the United States itself. I mean, call related to your credit card, and you will find more than likely the person you get in contact with is overseas. So if they're so concerned with TikTok and TikTok data being people doing stupid dances or talking about things, I would be a bit more concerned about my financial data being, we'll say, in some third world country. But that seems to be okay somehow. I'm just always confused by this, but no. This all rolls back to the reality of this is TikTok right now has one of the absolute best attention holding algorithms. If you spend any amount of time on TikTok, even just 2 or 3 minutes, you will find very quickly it shows you things you like, and it's very good at it. So because of that, you spend more time on it. This generates more advertising revenue for them and generates more money. This is why they are so popular. This is why they have 1 billion people worldwide and 150 million registered accounts in the United States. Facebook tried to do this. Facebook tried with Instagram to do this. They were never quite able to catch that algorithm. And because of it, they tried to buy TikTok, as I said, in 2016. They failed. Now, Facebook was the dominant force at the time. Now TikTok is becoming more dominant than Instagram and Facebook. And now you find all of a sudden government involvement trying to remove TikTok. The CEO of TikTok actually gave a couple of unique points, and he did say a few things when he was allowed to. At one point, one of the members actually asked him and said to him, hey, part of Chinese law as of, I believe it was 2020 or 2021, basically said any citizen of any Chinese citizen needs to actually be a member of our spy network. And they're not allowed to tell anyone about it. If we ask for information at their job, or if we ask for information wherever they are in the world, they have to comply as part of the government mandate. There was a Chinese law passed that required this. I believe it was 2021. That individual piece was somewhat effective in its questioning and in its being brought up. The interesting part was the CEO of TikTok's response was he wasn't Chinese, which he's not. So it's just an interesting back and forth. And once again, when politics are involved and technology, the politicians seem to be very far behind with what's actually going on. So in this case, they're basically just literally, they're trying to gather up what they can, and they just want to ban this thing. Now, why do they want to ban it? Again, I feel like that has a lot to do with the fact that this is more Facebook wanting competition to go away versus actual worrying about our safety. But let's check out the next part in here.
San Marie.
So, Nicole, it's clear that both parties are concerned about TikTok. I'm curious about the difference in questioning, though, the approaches. Did Democrats ask different questions than Republicans did, or were they basically sort of united?
No, they were pretty much on the same page. I mean, look, you had a number of Republican members who really tried to press the CEO again about the company's ties to China, since it's owned by Chinese-based company ByteDance. But, Democrats also went on that issue equally hard. I mean, you heard Anna Eshoo in our package, say that it was preposterous to her that the Chinese government couldn't potentially have access to Americans' data. And you also had the ranking member of the panel as well question this Project Texas, this U.S.-based firewall to store Americans' data. He said that he doesn't believe either that Beijing would ultimately have control or access to that kind of data. So, it was harsh questioning on both sides, and also with respect to the issue of safety involving teens and kids. And again, you had Chu pushing back against that, saying that, the platform has tried to implement a number of safeguards, whether that's limiting the amount of time kids can spend on the platform, preventing users under the age of 16 from receiving direct messages, but still, as you heard, they're not enough to satisfy a lot of lawmakers.
Yeah.
The parental piece, just like with almost any app you find, there are ways to enable parental safeguards on them. But I mean, the simple component here is if your child's phone is on your account, you can block what apps they can have and what apps they can't. Yes, there are ways around it, especially if you have, say, an Android where you have far more freedom to do things. But you can also block the websites, and you can block other components at the account level, making it very difficult to get to these things if that's what a parent really chooses. The problem is most parents have no idea how to use these functions, and that creates a bigger problem. That's a different scenario and a different story, though. At its core, though, if a child actually enters TikTok and puts in their proper actual age, they're going to be restricted. This is no different than any other app, but this app in particular is being targeted for that, and that's why this is a little odd at its surface. The reality, as I said, though, is this is Facebook being unable to compete with the TikTok algorithm, and therefore we have this. Part of the reason why Facebook, I feel, has a problem dealing with the algorithm is because Facebook, over the last few years, became very political and started alienating some of its consumer base. Because of that, a lot of people left it, and the number of people that use it started to drop because most people politically are just kind of in the middle. They're not really left or right. Yes, the strong left and the strong right are very vocal, but most people in the middle don't scream and yell about their politics. It's gotten to a point where politics is like religion. It's frightening. So you have those people that do that, but most don't care. And when Facebook started blocking information or restricting information on one side, that turned a lot of people off because they basically started going, what else can't I see? Or what else am I not able to view here? If I can't get the full story, why am I here? And on social media, it became very obvious when that happened. Unlike on a search engine, you don't know what you're not seeing. So you ran into those differences. But let me move over to this other section of this. This other part here relates to what are TikTok's options, obviously. At this point, I don't really feel like TikTok doesn't really have options here. The outreach and the plan here is to shut the whole thing down. I feel like even if TikTok was straight up sold to Oracle, which is a 100% US company that again also has transactions and does things overseas with different countries, but they're recognized as a US company. The idea that TikTok would still exist is not going to happen. I don't feel like it's going to happen at all. Project Texas, which they mentioned, was simply a US-based firewall to keep US data in the US. They say no to this. They say no, they don't believe it, it's not going to happen, all these other factors. Well, they're basically just saying TikTok is not going to exist as long as they have a say in it in the United States. And that is frightening because if TikTok is able to be removed, what is to stop other apps that are not friendly, or I should say, what is to stop other social media apps that are not friendly with the current people who run the government, whether that be Democrat or Republican? The internet used to be that place of basically freedom, and that's getting pressed on. TikTok may be removed because, well, Mark Zuckerberg couldn't buy it and he can't compete with it. But in the end of the day, if they get the power to close these things down, one may go to a social media company and go, you're going to run these ads and not run these, and you're going to play ball with us, or we're going to remove you because, you know, you've got this little section of your company that's connected to a foreign entity. This is the problem with it. It's not to say if they find proof that data is actually going to another country that they shouldn't do something about it, but you know, they're basically saying you're guilty by association, whether you like it or not. Too bad. It's kind of messed up. I don't really see an ideal thing here. If you're wondering where the contact comes from, this is an article from BuzzFeed. It was posted November 12th, 2019 at 8:56 p.m. It was last updated on the same day at 10:57 p.m. And this is that. Mark Zuckerberg tried to buy TikTok. He failed. I'll link this article in the section below, just so you guys can review it. But basically, he tried. He did a few things. And this basically says a lot here. Facebook is so pissed that TikTok is one thing they can't beat that they've turned to geopolitical arguments and lawmakers in Washington to fight their fight. That right there basically says what we're experiencing and dealing right now. Facebook can't win, so they're using politicians to do it. That's really sad, and that's the main reason why if Facebook does win and TikTok gets banned, that is the sad reality. It's not about your product anymore. It's not about if your product is better or worse. It's about who you know in what political office. And we already see that with a lot of other things, but to start seeing it on the internet is just sad. And I know it's happened before and it's already existed, but to see it at this kind of level with a company that is this large is really disheartening overall. You know, this is just frustrating. And if you're wondering, this is Mark Zuckerberg applauding the arrival of the Chinese premier during a meeting at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, March 2016. This was during his attempts to buy TikTok that failed. Kind of ironic. It's okay if he jumps in bed with China, but it's not okay if no one else does, or if anyone else does. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, this BuzzFeed article is definitely a good read. Take a look at it, go through it. But yeah, like, comment, blah, blah, blah. God, I don't ever want to say that again. But this is just an overall scary scenario, not just for TikTok, but for the future that it could possibly represent. And not that it could possibly represent. This is the start of the digital internet Patriot Act like level of power and blocking, and I don't want either side to have that. Later.